Just 2 days after taking an immediate medical leave, longtime chairman and chief executive officer of Hasbro, Brian Goldner, has died. The 58-year-old joined the toy maker in 2000 and was appointed CEO in 2008. Last year, Goldner said he had been under continued medical treatment following a cancer diagnosis in 2014. Hasbro Tuesday said Goldner was beloved, calling him the, quote, heart and soul of Hasbro, adding that he expanded the company beyond toys and games, into television, movies, digital gaming, and more. Board member Rich Stoddard has replaced Goldner on an interim basis.
On this vote, the yeas are 219, the nays are 206.
The Democratic-controlled U.S. House of Representatives gave final approval by a vote of 219 to 206 on Tuesday to a Senate-passed bill temporarily raising the government's borrowing limit to $28.9 trillion, putting off the risk of a historic default until early December. Democrats, who narrowly control the House, stayed unified, passing the hard-fought $480 billion debt limit increase, getting no support from Republicans, pushing back for now an October 18th deadline when the Treasury Department would no longer have the ability to make debt payments to lenders. Looking past Tuesday's vote, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi told reporters she hoped there could be a future bipartisan solution to the debt ceiling issue, despite top Senate Republican Mitch McConnell's warning that his party will not help next time. She also repeated that Democrats do not want to use a procedural maneuver called reconciliation to raise the ceiling. That is precisely what Democrats will need to do to get the December hike through the Senate if Republicans try to block them and no other solution is found. The Senate's vote last week to raise the limit, which had been more routine before the current era of fierce partisanship, turned into a brawl. In fact, the debt ceiling vote is to cover past spending already approved by Congress, including during Republican Donald Trump's presidency, which ended just 9 months ago.
I'm optimistic that these decisions have to be made.
Pelosi said she is hopeful that Democrats can work out changes to reduce the cost of their social policy plans in a timely fashion.
I'm very disappointed that we're not going with the original $3.5 trillion, which was very transformative.
Biden earlier this month suggested $2 trillion for the massive spending plan, after moderate Democratic Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema both said they would not support the measure's $3.5 trillion cost. Meanwhile, Biden's separate bipartisan $1 trillion infrastructure bill is hanging in the balance, as progressives say they won't vote for one without the other.
Largely out of public view since a regulatory clampdown on his empire late last year, Chinese billionaire and Alibaba co-founder Jack Ma has recently been spotted meeting with business associates in Hong Kong, two sources tell Reuters. Ma's recent visit to the Asian financial hub was his first in a year, a source revealed. Ma has been keeping a low profile ever since Chinese regulators pulled the plug on what was to be the record-setting $37 billion IPO for his Ant Financial Group, seen by many as a retaliation for a speech he gave last October in which he criticized China's financial regulators. Ever since then, speculation has swirled about his whereabouts as the camera-friendly, outspoken entrepreneur seemingly went underground with just a limited number of public appearances in mainland China. He briefly resurfaced in January, speaking to a group of teachers by video, which eased concerns about his unusual absence from the limelight. Since then, Ma made a rare visit to Alibaba's Hangzhou campus during the firm's annual Ali Day staff and family event in May, according to company sources. In September, Alibaba said it would invest about $15.5 billion by 2025 in support of President Xi Jinping's wealth-sharing initiative known as, quote, Common Prosperity. Xi's government has been on a tear, cracking down on everything from China's fintech companies to the video gaming industry to tutoring services, but it's Jack Ma's Alibaba and its tech rivals that have bore the brunt of the crackdown. Alibaba was fined a record $2.75 billion in April over monopoly violations. Comments from Ma typically go through Alibaba. The company did not immediately respond to requests for comment.
Southwest Airlines said it expects more normal operations Tuesday, with 90 out of almost 3,300 flights canceled. That's a far cry from the more than 2,200 flights canceled between Saturday and Monday, leading to frustrated travelers and long lines at airport counters. The reason? Unfavorable weather and air traffic issues in Florida, according to the company. Southwest CEO Gary Kelly on Tuesday apologized to customers and later explained to CNBC that the issues in Florida caused a ripple effect. He said, quote, "We had significant numbers of airplanes and flight crews that were totally out of position," adding, "It just takes several days to get everything back aligned." Kelly said the weekend cancellations were not tied to any pilot protests over Southwest's decision last week to mandate COVID-19 vaccines for all employees under President Joe Biden's executive order. The Airlines Pilots Union also refuted such speculation, but just last week, the union had said it would file a temporary restraining order to stop the Dallas-based airline from complying with a vaccine mandate. On Monday, Texas Governor Greg Abbott responded to what he called bullying by the Biden administration. Abbott barred all COVID-19 vaccine mandates in the state by any entity, including private employers. Southwest said on Tuesday it was aware of Abbott's order, but said, quote, "Federal action supersedes any state mandate or law, and we would be expected to comply with the president's order to remain compliant as a federal contractor."
American Airlines sees sunnier skies ahead. The carrier's outlook issued Tuesday projects a quarterly loss that's smaller than what analysts expected. American is betting that an increase in flight demand for the holidays and a lifting of travel bans will boost bookings for the rest of the year. That's a sharp turnaround from the tempered outlooks airlines had earlier issued as a Delta variant slowed bookings and drove up cancellations. American now says it is planning for what it called a robust peak travel period. A recent fall in infections has lifted hopes that passengers would become confident enough to board planes again. What's more, the Biden administration plans to reopen the United States next month to European travelers. That lucrative transatlantic route accounted for a sixth of passenger revenues 2 years ago at the U.S.'s three largest carriers. Despite that optimism, American sees quarterly revenue falling short of the level achieved in pre-health crisis 2019 by 25%. That didn't keep investors from bidding up shares of American in early trading Tuesday.